We're here today at Flowers in a Vase in Woodend, and we're about to meet Arnie, who's a little bit camera shy. So let me take you inside. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Arnie, who does beautiful flower work across the Mussared ranges and all the way down through Melbourne. What's the best way to contact you?
Most of my inquiries are email or through my website.
And then what's the process from there?
Okay, I send out my inquiry form, which is a general questionnaire, which they complete and send back. Then I try to arrange an initial meeting with the bride and hopefully the groom. I start a design process for them.
What does that design process involve?
I put a Pinterest board together for them. I get initial ideas from them about style, what colour is the bridesmaid's dress, what they need, apart from their bouquets, buttonholes, is there any table centres involved. When I gather all that information, I actually put some style ideas for them together. I show them what flowers are available for their wedding at that particular time, that season, because as we know, there are different flowers for each season. So that way they get an actual visual, and then we just go through the process of starting to work backwards from that. So each bride has an individual look.
That's lovely. Yeah,
and that's all complimentary.
What got you into floristry?
Well, actually, I was a banker for 25 years before I went into then hospitality. I always loved flowers at home, and I loved flowers. I used to do flowers for friends, and one particular time a couple of staff members said, you should do this for a business. So it basically started from that, and it developed and evolved.
Have you always been in Woodend?
No, my business started at a little nursery up at Mount Mussared. I rented a portion of the nursery there for nearly 9 years. And then the business just grew. I got a lot more wedding inquiries. So I decided, well, I need to move on to bigger premises and make it all my own.
Lovely. What are your favourite elements in a wedding with their flowers?
I've got a base style, which is quite wild. But because I want to make it just right for each bride and groom, I try to mix it up. I like putting texture and colour together. I love working with colour, I love working with texture. I like mixing natives with ornamentals. I like mixing up different foliages just to get a real special look. Yep, and perfume. Perfume is really important. Whether it's a bride's bouquet, a posy for a birthday or for a funeral, perfume has to be involved.
Nice.
So elements, texture, colour, perfume, all combined, it just becomes an individual thing, very much so, rather than that parroting or that cut and pasting sort of look.
And would you say that's what makes you unique? That you're able to get those different elements and make stunning?
I hope so, and that's why I'm getting a lot of clients, because they know that I will try to put together something that's just for them.
With our design process, we sketch up their gown. And go through fabric options with them. And then we are structured so that they have 4 fittings in front of the mirror, and at each fitting they are actually choosing how deep their neckline is going to be, or any of those sorts of things. And again, it's that drawing out of their personality into their day.
Exactly.
And then it's stunning. It's so much more special for them.
I think so. And it's an individual thing. Girls come in obviously with photos of things that they like, and more often than not, once we go through the process, working backwards from that, they end up with something completely different. Which they
them.
Correct, exactly. And I'll find that quite often. Yeah.
And that's much more special. What's your one most important tip for a bride?
There's probably a couple there. One is to relax and trust the people that you're working with. You'll soon get a feel with that particular person, whether they're right for you or not. And the other would have to be budget. It's really important too. There's a lot of things that we can do with flowers. Just talk it through with your florist. Get a feel whether or not they're capable of doing all the different things.
So do you get an idea of whether the florist is capable by
going to visit, speaking, looking at their website, their Instagram pages, and use them as a resource, because if they're experienced at their craft, They're a great source of information for alternate ideas. You might have an idea of something that you like, but perhaps it might not be within your budget. Ask them what are the alternatives that would be in your budget, or an alternative look, which will still give you the wow factor, and everybody's happy.
Nice. What's the most unusual request you've ever had?
Recently, a mature bride, she didn't want a bouquet, she didn't want a wrist corsage, she wanted an arm cuff made out of flowers.
For the bicep?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I loved it. It was so different.
We love hearing bride stories, how they met.
Okay.
How did you and your husband meet?
Oh, we're going back to the disco days.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep. So we actually met at a place at the Essendon Airport. It used to be called the Cockpit.
Okay.
Saw this handsome, strapping bloke.
And so you caught up again afterwards? And
Yeah, we went on a couple of dates. Then he went his way and I went my way. Then he came back down from Queensland. He was invited to a wedding. I went to the wedding with him, and it just went from there, and 32 years later we're still together.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you very much for having us.
My pleasure.
Really lovely work. How's the best way for brides to contact you?
You can email me at weddings@flowersinavase.com.au or give us a call on 0354 274 554.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.